Hello, millionaires. Welcome to the Millionaire Money Podcast. Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's conversation. I am so excited about the conversation that we're going to be having tonight. Guys, we are going to be talking to a powerhouse couple, Zamal and Sadine. They are phenomenal. But before we get started, I just want to let you know what the conversation is going to be about. We're going to be talking about the one shift that they took that created a 90K increase in their family. But more than that, rest, ease, and flow in their finances. And so as we get into the conversation, I just want to say this, guys. If you don't know already, share the video, because the people in your network are looking for a sign that something is possible. They're looking for possibility. And so be that person that encourages the people in your networks right now who are wondering, is it even possible to really do something big right now with everything that's happening with COVID and the global economy? Like, share this video so that they can watch it and see and know there's some really good things that can take place right now. So let's get into the conversation. First of all, I want to welcome you guys into our Facebook Live. Hello.
Hey, so happy to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited.
And know we're here.
Like, yes, I know, right? You like watch the videos, encourage all the people, and then you're like, wait. Okay, all right, we did it.
Now, we have reached, we have arrived.
That's right.
Still going. But that's how we started. Saw a video and knew that, it became a conversation.
Yes.
I think we should look at this. I think we should do it.
Exactly.
One video shifted an entire family.
Wow. Okay, pause, because you're already going in. Like, okay. So first of all, I want you guys to just introduce yourself to our community. So Sadine, why don't you introduce yourself, and then Zamal, you can jump right in.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Sadine Dalbury White. I am a people developer, I call it. I manage a team of people in the pharmaceutical industry. That's my marketplace work. And then I am also a pastor for a youth and young adult ministry. And I also, you will hear more, just moving into my own business, which is part of my purpose and calling.
Come on.
So very excited to be an entrepreneur as well. As a market leader and minister.
Yes. So, and guys, Sadine doesn't play, okay? Like, she is as hardcore as they come when it comes to like running in her purpose, doing what God has called her to do, and leadership, just being able to lead and speak. Just so much. I could talk, but I won't. So Zamal, why don't you introduce yourself and then we'll dive in.
I'm going to try and follow that, so that's my better half. But certainly I bring a little bit of something. So I've been in the financial services industry for 23 years. I've been happy to be doing that, and it's been an awesome experience. Also helped my wife as we co-pastor with a couple more pastors in this youth ministry. It's a pretty large youth ministry here in the city. And that's really what it is. I'm very much a community organizer too from the grassroots level. So that's my little body of work, if you will.
And I love that. I love just the work that you do in the community and how much you guys as a family uplift so many people. Let's get into the conversation. Now,
let's do it.
You guys are leaders. Like I said, you guys know what you want and you know how to pursue what you want. You're strategic. You create plans for other people. You help and serve other people. Like, you guys are leaders of leaders. What led you to take that step to say, look, maybe we need to have a conversation with the crew, with Toyin Crandell Coaching, to see what's really going on in our finances, especially Zamal, you've worked in the financial industry for 25 years as an advisor. So you could easily have been like, I know all there is to know, but what really led you guys to book that conversation?
Awesome. I'm going to make Celine start and I'll give you the financial
There we
part.
go. All right, go ahead.
Wisdom here.
But I think the biggest thing is that we can try different fixes, which we've tried over the years. You know, we did different budgeting, you refinanced, you looked at different debt management.
Yes.
But the key thing is that we kept going back into cycles of debt. And it just wasn't being lifted. And each time you think you've climbed that mountain, it seemed to have been another Kilimanjaro that comes your way. So it just wasn't getting better. And I knew, you know, we were just at a place where we were really just talking and saying, you know, how do we do this? Because to your point, we know a lot of it.
Yes.
There's a head knowledge, but something is not working. And it's also key to know when you know something is not working.
Exactly.
So you have to know it. And if you don't recognize that, that's the biggest challenge. So it's acknowledging and recognizing, irrespective of how good you are, we have a problem.
Yes.
Okay, and the live is done. We're done. We're done for today, guys. That was it.
If
That's everything.
Mic, drop it right here.
Just drop the mic and end the conversation, because, guys, what she said right there will save a lot of families.
Yes.
Because there's so many people that, because you are a leader, because you know so much about what to do with money, because even though the numbers aren't showing you what you know, you are not noticing it because it should be better.
That's right.
Zamal, why don't you jump in on this before I go on?
Let me speak to those logical folks out there now. Like what we're saying here is that you know, when you have some knowledge, and certainly, you know, and again, you know, we know what knowledge is. That's very important. That's a part of it, and understanding too. But the key that we learned, and I really believe, you know, we want to bring COVID into it, but it's here, so we really, you know, acknowledge it for what it is. You know, you really have to come to a place, and I think COVID played a role in this place, where you're humbled. You know, so I was going through my season of humility. You know, as you know, and I think played a big part in us taking a look at it, because again, you know, to Sadi's point, like, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but you need a mindset shift to see stuff from a different perspective. A different angle. Yes. Exactly. It's the head knowledge and heart knowledge, two different things.
Two completely different things. And I love what you said about that humility piece, because I talk about it all the time. Like, people always ask me, you know, Toyin, what is one of the top things that keeps people stuck financially? And I always say the top thing that keeps people stuck financially is pride. The top thing, like that. And I'm saying it because of that's what kept me. Like, the longer I figured I'm a leader, I'm a minister, I know what to do, I've read all the books, you know, blah blah blah, was the longer we just didn't see the shift that we were looking for. And I think you have such a good point here, because a lot of people have said the same thing. This season of quarantine has almost forced us to get honest. You know, absolutely. Like, we just can't be as busy as we were. Like, now things are starting to pick up a lot more. But back then it was like we had to slow down. And when you slow down, the thoughts that you could just kind of forget about quickly, they start coming back to the forefront. And you're like, okay, maybe I should do something about this.
That's exactly what happened. Exactly what happened.
Slow down to start over, really.
Yes.
Because it was that
okay.
It was true.
Guys, these guys are gonna drop so many nuggets. Like, just whip out your pen, your paper, everything. Yeah, you know, she's the speaker. She's like, slow down to start over. I just love it. So you guys, you know, you noticed this. And you booked the call. The call that we are talking about. And, you know, Sadine, you mentioned right in the beginning that you watched a video of another couple, and that's what led you to say, you know what, let's just book a call. And so we have the conversation. What would you guys say for each of you was the thing that pushed you personally to say, okay, this is it, and we are in, and we're ready to change our lives right now?
Interesting question. I can't wait to hear the answer.
I know for me too what it was, because I think there's an authenticity in you and what you represent. So I'm one who weighs in. I speak a lot, but I'm also very discerning and perceptive of people. And I remember just the very first call with you, and you didn't speak to trying to give us a quick fix of here are the numbers, here's what you do. You literally spoke to our hearts, and you spoke to our souls where the issue was.
Wow.
And it really impacted me as I go back, because your questions were piercing. They were also, they made us naked. But they were real to give us. We were at a stop, but we needed a jolt. And it was like almost giving yourself, like when you're charging that battery, it was recharging.
That jump start.
That jump start, exactly. So it was that, the authenticity, and also the conversation and how you laid it out. It was not about putting the math together, because we've been through others. Okay, if you do this, if you do that, you're gonna. It was not a this or that. It was us.
Yes. Wow.
I mean, she said it. She nailed it. I'll only say this part to add on to it is, again, because of my knowledge base. You know, like you didn't hold that over me either, right? You know, because that helped me to, you know, like I'm okay. I'm very coachable, I'd like to think, you know, for the most part. You know, once the right coach, you know, always says, you know, when a student is ready to master with a pair.
Yes.
So, like, you know, so in your conversation with us after watching the video, I think it was with Stacy and her husband, actually, believe it or not. But like it's
Stacy and Eli.
And then obviously, yes,
nice.
It was. So you have to give that shout out. That was such an awesome video.
One. Yeah.
You know, and then because of our history too, because we know each other, and I have a lot of respect for you, so I was able to park my 25 years, you know, and then listen to somebody else and a different perspective. And I want that happen. And to be honest, it was that God factor too, because we use that as a ultimate filter in anything in our lives. And you have that heart where, you know, the business and the coaching is coming from that place. So it's not about getting another student, it's about changing another life.
Come on. And I really, first of all, I want to thank you guys for that, because I think that that's a very real difference that is made when you come from that heart. You know, I speak to so many people, and I mean, there's so many coaches on the planet right now. Everybody and anybody is a coach. And there's so many coaches. There's so many financial planners and helpers. And I mean, you are a financial planner. So, you know, like, I respect so many of them. But one thing that I know is there's a difference between a conversation that is the heart of the issue, the heart of the matter, and let's just move some numbers around some more.
Right.
Because the truth is, you can move numbers from morning until night. And if you haven't changed, some way, somehow, it's exactly what you said, Sadine, where you're going to pay off the debt, and then it's going to grow back. And you're going to pay it up because you know how to move the numbers. And it goes back. And that cycle, it just, like, you're not actually going forward. You're going forward and backward, forward and backward. And it's many people, and so many people are content to have those conversations because it feels useful. It feels like we're doing something. Okay, let's just, we had the meeting, we had another meeting. So they feel like they're making some sort of progress, but they haven't actually addressed the one root, the real reason the pattern is happening. And what I loved about that conversation, Zamal, and I have to say this, is how humble you were in the conversation. You know, you mentioned that I didn't bring up the 25-year experience and say, you know, oh, but you should know this. But you didn't bring it up. You get what I mean? Like, you didn't come to the conversation. I remember having one conversation with someone where they came on the call. They knew they needed help. That's the only reason they came on the call. But they wanted to spend the call telling me how good they are. I'm like, if you are good, why are you here? Because if you are good, I can't help you. And I think that was one of the reasons you guys got the shift you were looking for, was because you were willing to be human. Yes. You know, because when you have so much experience for both of you, Sadine in the corporate world, in ministry, in leadership, and then Zamal in finance, in leadership, in the community, when you have all of that behind you, it's easy to have those hats on in all of your conversations. And when we get to have a real human heart conversation to see what's really happening.
That's right. Remove all the math.
Exactly. And it was wonderful. So you guys, we have that conversation and you make the decision immediately. Both of you were like, we're going to change this thing right now. You were like, no jokes. This is not a game. We're in. So you come in. Now, if you're watching this, you have heard me say, or maybe you haven't, that if you want to change financially, that shift is not just going to happen with a new budget. If you want to change financially, you have to change here before it is going to happen in your bank account. And I know all of you guys that are watching this going, how the heck did they do a 90K increase? Like, tell us the juice. But the truth is, if you don't change here, if you don't understand what are your limiting beliefs about money, what do I believe about money that is holding me in a pattern of being stuck, in a pattern of just enough, in a pattern of debt? If I don't have a look at that, you cannot change the situation. Hey, Maria. So here, let's go there. Okay.
Let's do it.
So for you guys, you know, when you went through that process of discovering your limiting beliefs around money, either of you can go first. What was your top 1 or 2 beliefs that you saw in your own mind about money?
I would say the top 2. So there were a few in, when especially that particular module that really broke us to another level of introspection. I call it like introspection layers. So there was one about not having enough and never having enough.
Yes.
And it came out of a place of lack, just based on my childhood, based on knowing money conversations with my parents, based on knowing that everything you got, you had to work hard for it, and sometimes you couldn't get it because you didn't have enough money. So I've never had the taste of having in more than enough that I know truly how to somewhat embrace it. So there's always that moment of thinking that you'll never have enough, and that was a genuine fear. So even though I thrive, I'm doing well at work, but I'm always having that in the back of my mind. So that was really just saying, yes, based on your value, you are enough and you can make enough.
Hold up. Before we shift, before we get to the module 2 process and what happened. I want to speak, because what I love about what you just highlighted is there's a difference, because you have a good corporate job. And many times we assume that because we have a good paying job, I must have a good relationship with money. We just assume, my paycheck is pretty good. I'm probably great with money. Like, everything in me is ready for money. It's okay, But I love what you just said, where it's, even though that was coming in, because there was this belief in your subconscious of there is never enough, it's like, even when that money is coming in, there's this thought of, there's never enough, it's not going to be enough. And because there's this, it's not going to be enough, that money just disappears because it produces the thought that's happening in your brain. But if you look at it from a face value, it's like, this doesn't make any sense, because there should be more than enough because of the amount that I'm earning.
Yes.
And so, guys, I want to speak to those of you who are earning a good amount and you are beyond frustrated because you're like, I should have more than enough. I should have more than enough. And I want you to take that time to ask yourself those questions to see, is it possible that there is a belief in me that there's not enough. There's never enough. Because if that belief is there, even at a subconscious level, it's going to produce that reality.
That's so true.
That's absolutely true. My second one still comes off the same one, which was not being a good steward, because that's where that feeds into. Because if I'm making what I'm making and I am not having a feeling that I'm having enough, then I must not be being a good steward of what God has given to me.
Which exactly, Zamal, which now introduces this feeling of guilt and condemnation and like, I'm disappointing God. Like, he's giving me so much and I'm grateful, but I should have so much to show him for what I'm receiving. But then the guilt causes you to kind of just X out of the conversation, which causes you to make the wrong financial decisions.
Vicious. And I mean, I try to add, like, you know, somebody in the industry with those thoughts. Like, you know, so I mean, you know, so the steward part, like I'm able to steward other people's portfolios. God manifested in myself. You know, and I'm not saying that we have no money. I'm just saying
like y'all had investments, but you're like, with what you know, it should be multiples. Exactly.
So it was real.
Epiphanies all over. It was it was more than enlightening. It was a scale removing. It was, but to your point, you had to go there for yourself. You had to be able to be that, you know, that vulnerable. You know, take off every single, you know, mental block. I just say, okay, this is exactly what it is. Call it for what it is. You know, and then let's start to rebuild. And that's what the shift is. That's what money mindset shift is.
Come on. So for you, Zamal, what did you notice that was your top money mindset roadblock that was triggering part of what was going on?
Right. So it would have been Sadine's second one. So that's stewardship. You know, because again, and it was, you know, I saw the came out there. I was waiting for it to finish, but I started to say it at the end there because that's what I felt. It was a condemnation. It was like, you know, how can you help everyone in your business, you know, grow their wealth, grow their share of wealth? And I'm not, and to the extent that you can't do yours, like you're doing it, what is stopping it? How come it doesn't grow the same way?
And it makes it so frustrating. And when you're really honest, it is so frustrating because you're like, I know what to do with this thing. Why am I not seeing the fruit in my situation?
That's right.
Guys, this is so real. And I love this conversation because you guys are being so real, which is so helpful for the people that are watching because often we just don't allow ourselves to get this honest.
That's right.
We just stay surface. We have surface conversations. We don't want to admit where things are really at. And the problem is when you don't look at it, just like you said, Zamal, of that place of like radical honesty with yourself, with God, that's the only place that you're going to burst transformation.
Amen. And that's how you know, but we're on the other side now and we
Okay, so let's go. Hold up. Okay, so now let's transition. Let's go over there. So y'all find out your roadblocks and then you shifted. What happened? First of all, what happened mentally? What did you notice in your mind? And then we'll talk about what happened financially as well.
So noticing in our mind was just being more purposeful and more intentional. So, you know, looking at your spend, looking at what you're spending on. Looking at, there was one particular modules looking at
Hold up. Before you do that one, do the mental, because what you had mentioned, because you were talking about it before, and I stopped you because I was like, we're gonna get here and I don't want to forget. So you had mentioned, you know, in the beginning you had felt like, one, there's never enough. And then the second one was just not being a good steward. And it was funny because as you were saying it, you've already shifted so much. You're like, but there is enough, you know? And I was like, hold on. So what happened in your mind? What did you see shift as you went through the process?
So I think the biggest shift was knowing that my upbringing is not my current situation. So you know, my parents' lot is my lot.
Yes.
And I had to detach myself from it.
Yes. Wow. Wow. I have never heard it put this way, Sadine.
Yeah, because that was creating a sort of poverty mindset, although I was flourishing.
Yeah.
And it's a problem. Yeah, it's a problem if when you are flourishing, yet you are still in a mindset of lack.
Yes.
So it that was a big one for me, that the lot of my parents is what I started with, but that is not
where you're gonna end. That's right.
And that's not where I'm going to end up, or the legacy I'm going to leave.
Yes. I want these guys to hear that, because that's huge. And I'm gonna be silent because I want you guys to just hear what Sadine just said. The lot that I had growing up is what I had growing up, but it doesn't have to be my current reality, and it doesn't have to be where I end up.
Yep.
I really want you guys to think about that, because we just take it for granted. This is just how it is. This is just what happens. Debt is normal. Struggle is normal. You know, all of that. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
And Sadine, I love this because as you said it, it's like you made a choice.
Yeah.
You decided, no. I'm in a different situation. I refuse to live like I'm still stuck.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, now keep going, because I really wanted everyone who's hearing this, and guys, if you're watching this and you know someone who's in corporate, someone who has a strong career, but they're frustrated for some reason. They're frustrated about their finances. They're frustrated during the season of COVID. They kind of feel stuck. They feel like they've hit a plateau. Share this video with them, because I think this is really going to encourage some of those people that are earning the income but just feel frustrated. They're not seeing it. Yes.
Earning the income but not seeing the outcome.
Yes.
And it's a very, very key thing.
It is.
Yeah, because there's work and process to get to outcome.
That's right.
The stewardship one was also giving myself slack.
Yes.
And releasing myself. Because it was, in my mind, part of the performance mode, sort of, to say to God, you know, you've given me all of this, then I need to do all of that. But it was really that release.
Yes.
I needed to release myself because it constricted me on many areas that I never thought about. So it was shifting to allow myself that release and that ease.
Yeah.
To be okay. Yeah, to be okay with how, you know, what God has given me, and that He's going to equip me how to steward it. So I didn't need to put the added pressure on
yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I love that, because once you get into that place of freedom, because that's what it is. It's now this place of freedom. It's like you get to approach your money. Like, people always ask me, Toyin, how is it that you talk about money, which is such a tough conversation, right? But you're so happy and you're like joyful, and that's because you can do money free.
Yes.
You can be free of all the stuff and all the mistakes and all the history, and just be like, we're just gonna create something new starting now.
Right.
Real.
Zamal, what did you notice?
Right. Yeah. No. On the stewardship part, it was the grace. I had to be in a position, and the program helped me to get in a position of receiving grace to say, you know what, like, yes, you can help to steward, people's finances, and that's what you're doing, and you're gifted in that. But what I was doing, I think I was projecting, portfolios versus mine. So if you don't have that portfolio to start, then the lie was, well, that's why you're not doing it. But you know what, like, be faithful with a little first, because he doesn't want, he's not going to, put you in a position that you can destroy yourself.
Yes.
So, so it was a lot of stuff, because I had to get through academic part first, to really get to that part. So my journey was spiritual. It was a spiritual journey, and the money part, just the gravy, if you will, like the money set, because I know that.
Guys, there's so much. Okay, there was one I need to say, then I'm coming back to this. My journey was the spiritual part of it, and the money was the gravy. I have to come back to that, but I said it so I don't forget. But the part I want to start in is what you just said about the freedom from comparison.
Yes.
To like honor your journey and be able to create your legacy, your history. And you said, if I had that portfolio without this knowledge, it would have been a colossal failure.
Yes. Yes.
And I think so many people aren't aware of this, because we always think the solution is more money first.
Right. There's more of, no.
Give me more money now. Like Jesus, the prayers, like more money. If I just had more money, everything would be better. Jesus, please, all I need is more money. Give me more cash flow and everything's going to be fixed. But what they're not understanding, and what I didn't understand in the beginning, was that, look, the more money you have, if you haven't shifted in your relationship with money, is the more regret you have, because the money is going to pass through your fingers. And then you look at it and you're like, what did I do with it? And then the problem of stewardship becomes an even bigger problem.
Huge.
And so I love the way you said that, because it's the mercy of God. And it's funny because I talk about it in my book, where I said it was the mercy of God that he did not release to me more finance before I got my mindset shift.
That's it. And he won't either. If you're a child of God, he will not do that to you.
Can manage.
Exactly.
That's how much he loves us.
Yes, because of
that's true love there.
What Sadine just said, the Bible literally says he won't give you more than you can bear.
And you can and more than you can manage.
Exactly. So, and it's like, if you have not addressed these mindset, if you haven't addressed this, he's like, I want to bless you. I hear your prayer. I agree with you. In fact, I want it more than you want it. But you have to change first. You have to change first. You have to be ready for it. You have to get prepared. It's so funny, because before this shift happened for me, there was a day that the Holy Spirit said to me, Toyin, what would you do with surplus? Right? And so I was, when the Holy Ghost asked me, because I wasn't thinking about money, back then I did not talk about money at all. Like, money wasn't even in my mind. So out of nowhere, I'm like in prayer, and he asked me, what would you do with surplus? And I'm like, I got plans. And I remember I whipped out a paper, because I'm like, if the Holy Spirit's saying, what would you do with surplus? It means one day he's going to give you some surplus. And I was expecting it any day from that moment. So I get a piece of paper, and I remember writing down everything that I would do with surplus. And it's funny, because now, knowing everything that I know about money, seeing who I was with money then, I look at that paper that I wrote down, and I'm like, that's why he didn't give me surplus back then.
Yeah.
Because he asked me a question, it was a test, and I told him what I knew, and it wasn't right.
Absolutely.
And he didn't want to burden me with something I didn't know how to handle. Just like you wouldn't give a 5-year-old child your family car to drive.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. And I think, Toyin, you just said something where I had to literally write it down. He wants us to be a whole container without holes. So we literally can contain.
Exactly.
And that's why it's holistic. A whole container. That's what the Holy Spirit just dropped that in my spirit. He wants us to be a whole container, to be able to keep and to pour in and without holes.
And I'm just going to add on that.
We have holes.
This is good. I'm going to add on that because, guys, if you're watching this, this is for you right now, okay? So you need to make sure that you're really hearing this, because I love that analogy of a whole container without holes, because often the feeling when money flows through is it feels like there's a hole in your pocket and you don't know where it is. But now when you can be that container, not only do you get to keep it and grow it, but you get to direct it. You can pour it where you want to pour it. It's not just spreading all over the place, disappearing from your life and from your family. You literally tell money what to do and where to go. But like Sadine said, you have to be the whole container.
And that's where overflow, because overflow can then flow out easily.
That's the abundance. That's the freedom.
It's just amazing to see when you get to that place of freedom. So your brain can be open and think. You can think again. You're not restricted.
So this happens, guys. Y'all just heard them. You just heard them, okay? This happened. And then what happened in your family's finances?
Wow. Okay, let me take that one. I'll take lead. It's unbelievable. It really is. So as we got into the room and we fought into that room too. Those are big decisions. Yes. Those are So those are family life altering changes, right?
Yeah.
So we get into the room, and again, COVID amidst the pandemic, things slowed down to a point that I was able to really look up and sort of see what's happening and where I'm at right now. I'm talking, career-wise, right? And I had a conversation, with a colleague that did a shift in his life, and just in that conversation, Holy Spirit prompted me to just ask him, say, listen, the way you did that, I'd be open to a similar conversation. Not saying I'm going anywhere, but I've never since I've started my career with this institution, had a conversation with another institution. Many friends of everybody I know of, I've done it at least once, many people twice, and then other times, but it's just not something that I felt I had to do.
Crossed your mind,
No, things were great, or so I thought, and we're just moving on, things were happening. But again, I think life was just going by just fast enough that I was just trying to keep pace.
Yes.
So again, the slowing down of COVID and then getting into the room, it was the hand of God for those things, because those things happen at the same time.
Yeah.
So to cut it short, I had that conversation because I was in the room. That allowed me to do a resume. I have to laugh because I haven't done a resume since 2001. Like I don't know what that. I wouldn't even know how to start that. So that's just a plug for Tina the Guru.
That's right. We have a career success strategist, and she is the bomb.
I'm talking. The resumes look like that anymore. So. So I was able to get that done, and at the end of the day, I was given an opportunity with a guarantee, vacation, like everything I could ask for and more.
Yes.
While I'm still in the program, so I was able to understand that this is what's happening.
This is for real.
For the restart,
guys. I have to say,
I don't have any blinders. I see this is you, God. Yes. So that move was able to happen. As I was shifted, that shift happened.
Yes. And I have to say something about that, guys. Lycia's like, yes, Betty's like my people. I just want to say, guys, when you shift, the speed at which when I said earlier that it's like God is like, I want to bless you. I'm ready. I want, I hear you. I've heard you. It's a yes. Just get ready. Get prepared. Shift your mindset. Get ready to hold this container. And it's like, as soon as you guys shifted, he was like, bam.
It's true.
And it was so much fun because we had our conversation 8 weeks ago. 2 months ago.
Oh.
And it's like, I find a lot of the time we can't even predict what God's going to do. And I love it because that's why I love doing these videos and having these conversations, because I couldn't predict it. All I know is that when you shift mentally, and then you apply the right strategy. So guys, I love what you said about the career success strategist, because guys, it's not just pie in the sky, ooh, kumbaya, you know, and the job is just going to come to you and the increase is just going to come to you. It's not just that. It is the shift mentally as well as the correct strategy, and all of a sudden, every single room you enter, you're the person that they want.
That's what it is. That is the attraction law. So, the shift allows you to, with a plan, attract these opportunities that he has been wanting to give you. Yes. I don't believe opportunities are passed over. And I think there are opportunities even in this season.
Yes.
There's so many, probably even more, but you have to be in a position with a plan to receive it. And then it'll flow.
Yeah. Powerful. I can tell you, just seeing the shift, not only of that position and that opportunity that came through, which is beyond what we would ever think of in a time. I say, there's a season of scarcity and stuff all around us, but there is abundance when you are ready. Yes. Because in everything there is opportunity. Yes. So I am beside myself because I know too that was a challenge and a struggle, for Zamala, knowing his potential but feeling frustrated with his current position was a challenge, but just not knowing how to get unstuck. Yes. And your thing about getting unstuck, you definitely need the strategy as well as the shift. Yes. Because you can't just shift without strategy, because that's not wisdom. Exactly. So, it's just amazing to see, and just to see the out of that shift and out of that movement, because you have to move. Literally. Then you just start to see, when I tell you, I felt like every week we had our call or so on, there was something to share. That's right. Because there was something to celebrate. Yeah. Because God just kept, it's almost like the floodgate opened. That's right. And it started to overflow, and it is now, you are in a better mindset, so you're not giddy by the overflow. Yeah. You're steady in the overflow.
There she goes. Yeah. He come back.
Did you guys hear that? Did you hear that? But I don't think they had. Hold on, Sidi, you keep on doing this. You say it and then you just keep going. Pause. I think you guys need to hear what she just said. She said, part of why God is able to release at this level into your finance, this level of abundance, is because when you shift mentally, you are you don't get giddy at the overflow. You're steady because the truth. So now, because you've shifted, a ton of money doesn't change you. Yeah, you're rooted. So we know you're what it grounded. Is now. You know where it came from. You know how you got there. And a ton of money doesn't scare you. No, because you're like, it's consistent. He's consistent. Yeah. You are so different, and I'm loving this, guys. If you didn't bring pen and paper, please carry pen and paper, refresh the video, and just go back through and take notes for yourself. Because the truth is, when you don't have the right foundation mentally, the right relationship with the way that you think about money, and a lot of money comes in front of you, it does change the way that you will perceive. Just think, for those of you guys who are watching, just think to yourself, what happens to me when I get in the room with people who have a lot of wealth? It's like imposter syndrome, I don't know if I fit. I feel less than. Syndrome. I feel angry. I feel envious. I feel jealous. Like, if there's any sort of a shift in you, then it means you aren't yet ready to have much more.
That is so true. I always say this, Toyin. I said, money just makes you a bigger thing of what you are before.
What's there.
And it is a statement that is a mirror statement, because you have to look yourself in the mirror when you say that. And if you don't like what you see, then you have to just be humble and say, I need a shift.
That's right.
And that's what this can do for you. That's what the program can do for you.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, because we could keep going. Sadine, we have to talk about your own business too, because I think there was I loved the transition. It was as though as you came into your there's more than enough. And it was like, for you, it was like about purpose. You became so unstoppable about, I am going to live the purpose that God has put me on this planet for. And you started to restructure your life, your decisions, your time to give room for the things that you were like, this is the priority that God has for my life, and to own your value in that space.
Yep. And you hit that so well. And I think there's a nugget I'll take for life with me is the year of free is over.
It's over.
And it's because it's important, because it doesn't make you humble, or it doesn't
explain what that means, because people who are watching don't know what happened. So you have to explain before MMS.
So absolutely. So in the ministry, you are tasked to counsel people. But I was also shifted to go into marriage counseling, not just youth counseling, as young people were getting married, because they. And
now she has a counseling degree, so this isn't just a sporadic. I just counsel people. She's put money into learning how to do this role. Okay. Just putting that there. So part of my my own epiphany in my journey with God, asking him, what am I here for? It's definitely one of those moments was that he said, you're a counselor, whether at work, whether in the ministry, it doesn't matter. Everywhere I go, people sit to ask and for me to ask them back and to engage. So I know that is my life purpose. But what was key was that coming into this program, I spent a lot of time, because when you're in ministry, that's the reality. Everybody wants it free. Yes.
So they ask you, when you're leaving the church, they ask you as you're walking to the car.
Yes.
So it's all of these moments that you literally don't stop to say, this is a purpose that has value.
Yeah.
And that's what the programs got me thinking, because I was always deferring it to later.
Yeah.
To say after corporate, then in my 55 or whenever, I will transition into it.
Yes.
But why defer what you can do now?
Yes.
What you're doing still.
And what you're doing already.
What I was already doing.
Yes.
So I know that shifted my mindset, that it's not later, it is now. And then I also, because we have a lot of different activities that we're committed to. So I also had to give myself grace and then create space.
Yes.
So the spacing was what I also wasn't doing properly. And that's where strategy comes in. As much as you're a leader, you need people to help you.
Yes.
And it was important to break down some of the things as to how to make this business viable and to give it life.
Yes. And let me just say this, guys, because it's so true. How many of you guys who are watching this, you have ideas, you know where you can go, you know what is possible, but you're a leader, you have so much on your plate already. It's that's just out of the question. It's impossible. Right. Even though I know that's where I must shift to, that's where I'm supposed to be right now, my hands are too full. And it takes that conversation often with someone who is in strategy. That's what we do, to be able to say, yo, all you got to do, move this, shift here, go like this. And then it's it's happening.
That's right.
Yeah, and talking it out. And I think that's what the program did a lot, because you were never shy of asking questions and provoking us.
That's right.
So you didn't make it easy, because it's easy to say, okay, I'll get to it. No, you didn't. You provoked. So what?
That's accountability.
And it created a different level of accountability and planning.
Yes, exactly.
So, just fast tracking. I mean, I think the other clarity that I got out of the entrepreneurial business side of not just being content in a corporate, because I know there's more. So the other clarity was also, what do I want to focus on? Because to your point, you could do many things. There's all kinds of coaching. There's all kinds of stuff. People ask me different things, but you allowed me to, you helped me to focus and to hone in on what is it that I am going to be exceptional at.
Yeah.
What is it?
That's right.
So I'm not trying to be all things to all people.
Yes.
Because then that again will lead to frustration. So the shift brought a new focus on, this is my business. It is marriage counseling. It is officiating.
Yes.
But it is a double business, because I want couples to thrive.
Come on.
I want couples thrive.
Come on. This is amazing. So guys, I want you guys to speak to the people who are watching this, who maybe felt the way you felt 8 weeks ago and are feeling frustrated because they know what they should do. They're ahead. They're a little bit ahead of other people, but they're not quite there. They're not living the lifestyle that the level of knowledge they have should produce. What would you say to someone who is watching this video right now about what steps they can take to begin this process of shifting out of that place of feeling stuck?
I mean, I'll start. It's definitely, and I know there are many friends of ours, certainly in our circles, that are exactly the way you spelled it out there, Toyin. Like, they're even thriving, but with small t then.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be that limit, right? Because, it's, and the mindset shift is, sometimes people, it's the way you perceive the word shift. Like, it's not, sometimes it doesn't have to be cataclysmic. Like, it can just be
it's one
it can just
little
be a tweak
thing.
Because it's all about your trajectory, right? Like,
That's right.
So if you just tweak it to 1 or 2 degrees, and you could be right there. So I think, what I would say, quite honestly, for it's to do that mirror test for yourself. Like, it has to be you have to come to an honesty, and it's a self-walk. It's a self-walk, as well as, if you're couples, for sure, you want to do that as well too with your spouse, because the decision, in retrospect, now that we're on the other side, shouldn't have really been a hard decision. It wasn't for us in the sense that, like, because we just got it at the right time and we had the purpose and everything. But I mean, a decision like it is still one of those that when you look at it from those eyes, and you really believe that God really wants to do some of the things that He wants to do through you, this is a very mustard seed decision. And it's a small step for a bigger, it's a setup for a setup then.
Come on.
Like, the step is a setup for the setup that God wants you to do. So, I say, listen,
I love that frame.
Yeah, like, you listen, have the conversation, and then really go and have a heart to heart, yourself with God, with the mirror in front of you, to say, like this really could be it. You have to be, like, it's funny, we're just finished doing a call right before this. So you have to be that lady, like the issue of blood. Like,
this is a problem.
That's right. It is a problem that, like, if it keeps coming back around, then I'd say that's a problem. It's just one of those things. You can't keep doing the same things and expect that different results.
Come on.
So just make that decision. What would you say?
And wait, Sadine, before you say yours, I love the frame you put there, because often people will say, you know what, Toyin, this is such a big decision for me to make. And I love that, because the truth is, it's a small decision when you see what's on the other side. when you see what is possible on the other side of the door. Like, could you guys imagine? Could you have imagined that this was going to happen 8 weeks ago when you were making that decision? Like, you can't. And so it's until you begin to have that vision for your life of, look, if I make this decision to shift, I'm getting all of it. I'm getting every bit of. That's right.
Return on investment.
Exactly.
That's where I become a Jew.
That's right. It's like I need to see this return on this thing. And so it's like if you maybe you've already had a conversation with us and you were thinking to yourself, this is such a big decision. I want you to really hear what Zamal just said, because the truth is, it is a tiny mustard seed compared to what it is that you want to create and would create if you shift. Okay, Sadine, go ahead, because you people.
So not much more, but I will take from the angle of the mustard seed. And I'm all about there is no sustainable success without sacrifice. So it's so key to understand that, because there's nothing that you're going to sustain. It requires some sacrifice.
That's right.
But what is that sacrifice worth?
Exactly.
Yeah. What is the worth? But I am the image of the mustard seed versus the mustard tree. And we've been blessed to have gone to Israel, and I'm telling you, when we read it in the Bible and we see the mustard seed, which is smaller than a pinhead. I brought back mustard seed, so I have some. They're smaller than a pinhead, a pen point, basically. They're smaller than a pen point. However, the mustard tree holds thousands of people. It's one of the largest trees.
Wow.
So think about, like, when you see the shade of that tree, that's where they sat for days. Like, thousands can hold under a mustard tree. So think about that nest that you are creating, for which that's what's called legacy. So that image remains with me, that what you're doing now does not compare to
not
the
just
tree
for you.
that will flourish, that many will come to nest in. And it is called legacy. Yeah. So it is that pea in a pond, but the ripple will continue and continue and continue beyond you.
And I love what you just said, because O'Neill is watching this, and it's so funny. O'Neill's like, like he's like cheering y'all on like crazy. But what you just said about the ripple effect, right? Because we did a video with O'Neill and Maya a month ago. And just 2 days ago, O'Neill's platform, which he was like, he stepped into an MMS. He just had Brandy, the singer. He's in the music scene. Brandy, the singer, like the Brandy, y'all, the Brandy. Okay. Just started following him. I think it was following you. Correct me if I'm wrong, O'Neill. Because of an opportunity that he has had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and then just this week there was a new opportunity where he was able to do what he does extremely well in front of thousands of Brandy fans, and all of them, so, like, he got 600 new followers in a day, and Brandy's like, yeah, you're right. And Brandy herself following him because he made that one mustard seed decision 3 months ago. And that's what I love about what you're saying, Sadine, because it is that decision that starts this ripple effect, this domino effect of abundance. And it's about legacy. It's not about you alone. Yes, you matter, because it's good for you to have more than enough yourself, but it's about the people that you are creating this type of legacy for. It's about the history. It's about the possibility that you get to show them you're not stuck. Here's what's possible. All you got to do is shift, and shifting is super simple. It's so simple, guys. It is so simple. And I just, man,
I have one more thing on that, because shifting is not a leap. Shifting is just making a little move, a slight move.
One thing.
So one move. The other piece too, that's a benefit, and I say this to parents and so on. When your children watch you going through this program, I'm very serious to parents out there. It's bigger than you because I've watched our daughter come down to see. She sits in the chair behind us. She's hearing. She knows TCC. She knows the name. She's watched us shift.
Yes.
Being more mindful of money and what money it's a tool and how we use it.
Yes.
And even just as we shifted into abundance and being able to dream and whatever, I watched her just last weekend. She's writing books. So she wrote her book. And what was funny is that I haven't finished editing mine, but she said to the publisher, because we went somewhere with the lady who was a publisher, and she was in no joke. She was negotiating. She says, can you read my story? Tell me what needs to change, and then I'm going to send it to you, and you can tell me how we publish it. And the lady had no opportunity to waste, because after she fixed what she told her to fix, she sent her an email, and she said, tell me what else is next.
10 years old. So
you are seeing the fruit of the legacy already based on your seed that is seeing what you have sowed.
There's a difference between teaching your children how to live and what to do with money with your words and showing them in your life. And that's what you're talking about, Sadine. It's like when you come in and you start to shift, they have no option but to shift with you because they watch you. And it's what you do that they do. It's not what you say. And I see so many parents that are like, but Toyin, I teach them better. I've been teaching them to do better. And then you look at the fruit, and often the fruit is they're doing what you're doing. And it's like, if you are seeing your kids are making the wrong decisions with money, it's not the time for you to nag them. It's not the time for you to be like, what are you doing with your money? You should do something better with your money. The one thing parents always love to tell their kids, save money, save money, save money. But you're not living it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so they don't see that. And so there's no weight to the words that you're bringing. So it's like, if you're watching this, what Sadine just said, it's funny because I don't think we've ever spoken about this angle before, but we see it all the time. We see so many parents with adult children who have moved out of the house and younger children who are in the house, where when they shift, their adult children are like, something's different about you, Dad. Something's different. And all of a sudden they get this communication where they become a financial mentor. And it's no longer just the parent that has been nagging me and telling me, because there's this respect that they gain for the way you're living life now.
Yes. Absolutely.
Wow.
That was powerful. Thank you.
It's called legacy.
It's legacy. And guys, if you're watching this and you're like, Toyin, okay, I've heard you. I'm ready to do the one thing.
Do it.
Because the one thing that they did was book a call, and then they took one more step, which was to just get in the room. They got in the room. And so if you're watching this video right now, I want you guys to go to toyindata.com/finance. Everybody always tells me, Toyin, it's booked out. It's booked out. We are booked out. Why are we booked out? We're booked out because people are running into their shift.
Yeah.
And so don't make that an excuse. No. Go to toyindata.com/finance and book a conversation so that we can have a real, honest look in the mirror. O'Neill is like, all caps, do it. Book a call for real. Like, just do it. It's so simple. It is one small step that is going to transform the trajectory for yourself, for your family, for your legacy. We love you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for being who you are.
Thank you.
Thank you, Toyin, for being obedient to the Holy Spirit and created this opportunity for people to have an opportunity to change their lives. It really has been a blessing. And we just hope a lot of people join the journey, because it's a journey.
Yeah.
But it takes a shift for the journey.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for being so honest, so real. And we will see you guys this time next week. Love you guys. Bye.
Love you. Take care.
Hey, millionaires. Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you want to subscribe, there's a little picture of me right here. Click on that. And if you want to have a free financial breakthrough session with my team, then you can go on ahead and click on the button right here, or visit moneymindset.ca/call. I'll see you guys on the next show. Bye-bye.